Hey guys, Tyler here. We're going to go ahead and start a new series here on the channel. We went out and got a 3000 GT. This is actually my buddy Mike's car. But I'm going to start a whole series basically showing us taking the car apart and just going from how it is right now. The car's got 220,000 miles on it, I believe. As you can see, it hasn't been washed in a really long time. This is what the paint should look like once it's taken care of. But the car's been sitting for about a year and a half. The owner hasn't been driving it at all. So, like I said, it's been sitting for a long amount of time. So there's just pretty much everything you can imagine. Dust, dirt, sand, pine needles, as you can see. Motor runs pretty good. It does let out a little bit of smoke, so we're probably going to change the oil, do some coolant. Brakes need to be done. Obviously, the whole car is going to be cleaned from top to bottom. And basically, like I said, we're just going to do a build series on it and show you guys how to repair some of the stuff on some of the older vehicles. It'll be a really good video for if you're looking to buy a car that has a lot of mileage on it, and maybe you're looking to flip a car or just get something a little bit older as a daily driver. So, like I said, this series is basically just going to cover us repairing the car and everything else that goes with it. So stay tuned. So like I said, the first step is we're definitely going to do a full cleaning on the car. As you can see, in the engine bay there's a lot of dirt and sand, pine needles, oil, all stuff from the car sitting for a while, and obviously a car with over 200,000 miles is going to have a lot of dirt and grime. So we're probably going to do degreaser on the motor, power wash everything, get it looking a little bit better. And then same thing for the paint. Paint has a little bit of oxidization and just needs a little bit of love. As far as the interior, typical stuff for a car that has a little bit of mileage on it. There's a couple of the panels that are cracked. Car needs a good vacuum, but overall it's in pretty good shape. So we'll do a before and after of the inside and outside so you guys can see what it looks like. So one of the important things that you're going to want to do if you get an older used car like this is obviously rinse the paint first. You don't want to just go straight into a car wash right away with this, because all the dirt that's been sitting on there, if you just started, rubbing it down with soap and a mitt, you're going to just take all the dirt that's been on the car for a long time and that's been caked in and just basically rub it into the paint. So the best thing that you could do first is just go over the car carefully with a power wash or a hose. Just get some water on there and lubricate the surface of the paint. That way you're not rubbing the dirt right into the paint. And with a car like this, what you want to do is basically degrease the whole outside. So what we're going to do is, after we rinse it, we're going to spray the whole car with a foam gun, but we're going to use dish soap, because dish soap is really tough on dirt. It's not something that you want to do to your car every day, but a car like this that's been sitting will really do pretty well with the dish soap. Now that we've rinsed all the dish soap off the car, we're going to go ahead and hit the car with an actual foaming soap. That way we can get pretty much every inch of the car covered in a nice good soap with a little bit of wax in it. And then we're going to actually wipe the paint down so we can show how good this paint can be with a little bit of love once you actually take care of it. So one of the things that you can do to help the paint on an old car is use a clay bar or a clay block. As you can see, we're using it on the roof right now because the roof, the hood, and the trunk are usually going to get the worst of the stuff that's going to be stuck in the paint because dust tends to settle on stuff that sits flat. So we're just using the clay bar to pull a lot of the stuff that's stuck in the clear coat. So you'll be able to, the biggest way that you can tell if stuff is stuck in the clear coat is basically just to run your fingers on the paint like that, and if you can feel your fingers dragging, there's typically stuff stuck in the clear coat. So this clay bar is going to pull a lot of that stuff out of the paint and make your paint finish smooth like glass. So basically, to cover what we've done so far, we've just taken the dish soap, or first we've rinsed the car completely, tried to get a lot of the heavy stuff off of it. We took the dish soap and hit the car with the dish soap, try to use that kind of as a light degreaser, get most of the stuff that's left after the rinse. Then we used a foaming cleaner, a soap, something that has a little bit of wax in it, try to get down to the next level of like dirt and grease and all that, try to get all that off. We hit it with a sponge, tried to work out the rest of it, and now as you can see, the paint itself is pretty clean, but it's still really dull. We also use the clay bar to get a lot of the stuff that's in the clear coat out, but now that the paint is still really dull, we're going to go to the next step, which is you're going to go to your buffers and hit it with either a polish or a wax, or if it's really, really bad, you can use a rubbing compound, but we're just going to go ahead and start with probably a polish and just see how the paint looks after that, and then we'll make our decision on if we want to go to a rubbing compound to do a little bit of a heavier work on the paint. So now that we've done a little bit of polish on the hood, you can start to see that the color of the paint is actually starting to come back out. There's still a lot of little spots that we have to touch up, but if you look at the difference between the fender, you can see how faded the paint is compared to the hood, which actually has a little bit of reflection. And like I said, we're not actually done with it yet, but I just wanted to give you kind of a comparison. You can kind of see on the bumper how disgusting the paint is there and how everything leaves marks on it. Where the hood, you actually get a shine. You can see some of the clouds that are being reflected. And then on the roof, we've only done one half. That house, the side that's closer to the house, we did polish on. And this side, you can see there's still a little bit of blemishes in the paint, and it's a little bit more faded. Once we actually go over the whole car, it'll be a little bit easier to tell. So to kind of give you guys an idea of what polish can do to an old car and paint that's been sitting for a long time, you could see in the middle of the spoiler we used polish, and then here's a tape mark where we didn't use polish at all. So as you can clearly see, the paint was super, super dull, and now that we've put polish on it, it's really pulling that black shine out of the paint that the car originally had. And I mean, it's still not perfect, but it looks really, really good compared to what it was. You're starting to get some of the reflection in that deep, dark black color that the car had initially. Alright guys, so we are pretty much done polishing up the car, and like I said before, as you can see, the car is looking a lot better, a lot darker shine, really bringing out that nice black color in the paint. And we threw a little bit of tire shine on the tires, so they should look a little bit shinier too. Pretty much going to end the first part of the build series here. We just really wanted to hit the outside of the car today. On our next video, we're going to go through the inside of the car, clean up the inside of the car a little bit, and then we're going to actually start getting into the mechanical aspect of the build, where hopefully we're going to swap the tires out, probably do a brake job on the car, change some of the fluids, including the oil. So if you're interested in this build series, definitely follow along. We're going to hopefully upload a couple more videos over the next few weeks, and we're definitely going to stay active with the 3000 GT, Mike's Mazda here in the background, and then for all the people that have been asking, I am going to be doing more videos on the Camaro. I'm in the process of filming some of the stuff, so definitely make sure you stay tuned. The build series is definitely going to be a cool thing to follow, so make sure you like and subscribe this video and follow along. Thanks guys.